Welcome to my channel. Modern Stoic I'm about to reveal could change the way you see every woman in your life. Right now, I want you to stop for a second and ask yourself, have you ever felt her presence in silence? The quiet moments that speak louder than words. The subtle gestures that make your heart race but never come with a confession. Today, I'm going to unveil the hidden signs a woman truly loves you but chooses to stay silent. And I promise once you notice these, you'll never underestimate the power of her silence again. The first thing to understand is this: love doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, and only the keenest minds notice. If she genuinely cares for you, her world subtly shifts around you. You might think she's distant or uninterested, but the truth is she's watching, analyzing, and protecting her heart at the same time. You see, a woman who loves quietly often fears that speaking her heart aloud could change the dynamic, or worse, push you away. So she invests her emotions in ways that aren't loud but are undeniably profound. Observe how she remembers details about you, small things most would forget. The way you take your coffee, the song you hummed once, the story you mentioned offhandedly months ago. She stores these, and not just to recall them randomly. She uses these details to make your life easier, to make your moments lighter, to silently say, I see you, I understand you. Men often miss this because we're wired to wait for the verbal confirmation, the overt declaration, the I love you. We crave. But love is not always a headline. Sometimes it's a soft undercurrent that moves through her actions, her glances, and her time. Another sign you may not notice immediately: she prioritizes your happiness without being asked. The errands you forgot, the stressful day at work, the little things that add up, she's thinking about them, and yet she doesn't announce it. She doesn't post about it on social media. She doesn't even expect gratitude. Why? Because the act itself is her love made tangible. The silent love she gives is her power, and her choice to remain quiet is her way of protecting both you and herself. Now let's go deeper. One of the most overlooked signs of her silent love is how she guards your emotional space. Notice how she never criticizes you unnecessarily, even when she sees flaws that would bother others. Instead, she listens, she absorbs, she tolerates, not because she's passive, but because she's invested in your emotional well-being. She understands that your vulnerabilities are sacred, and the fact that she protects them quietly is a declaration of her love louder than words ever could be. Many men mistake this for indifference, but in reality, it's a sign of profound respect and deep attachment. Watch her reactions when you're stressed or angry. She doesn't always offer solutions. Sometimes she simply stays by your side. A woman who loves in silence doesn't feel the need to fix you constantly or demand acknowledgement. Her presence alone is a shield. She understands that love isn't about drama or constant affirmation. It's about stability, consistency, and being the quiet anchor you might not even realize you need. She's silently saying, I'm here even when you don't notice me. And this kind of love is rare, extremely rare. Pay attention to the way she communicates without words: a glance that lingers, a subtle touch on your arm, a smile when you think no one is watching. These are all coded messages of her affection. She's expressing everything she feels through actions instead of declarations. And this is where most men fail. They expect loud expressions, grand gestures, or verbal confirmations. And when they don't get them, they doubt her feelings. But the truth is, her silence doesn't mean absence. It means she's confident enough in her love to let it exist without constant validation. One more thing. Notice how she sometimes disappears emotionally for a brief moment. You might feel a pang of insecurity, thinking she's pulling away, but in reality, she's processing. She's balancing her heart and her mind, figuring out the safest way to show her love without losing herself. Silent love isn't weak. It's calculated, resilient, and deeply intuitive. It's a love that's designed to endure, to persist through misunderstandings, and to survive the noise of life around you. And here's the secret many men never realize: the quietest woman often loves the hardest. She invests more in you than you even know, and her silence is the strongest proof of her dedication. Let's get even more revealing. One of the most overlooked signs that she loves you silently is the way she notices your moods before anyone else does. She doesn't need to ask. She Senses tension in your voice, fatigue in your movements, or the subtle shift in your energy. And without a word, she adjusts her own behavior to accommodate you. Maybe she gives you space. Maybe she offers a comforting gesture. Or maybe she simply sits near you, letting you know she's present. This is not manipulation, it's intuition. It's a subconscious declaration of love that only someone deeply connected can perform. Notice how she celebrates your small victories, the ones that barely anyone acknowledges. Did you finish a project at work? Did you achieve a minor goal? She notices, and she silently cheers for you. She understands that love isn't only about big gestures, it's about showing up in ways that matter to you, even if they go unnoticed by the world. She doesn't need to broadcast it because her satisfaction comes from seeing you happy. And men often miss this, waiting for dramatic confirmation or constant praise, not realizing that the quiet support she gives is infinitely more valuable than fleeting words. Watch how she remembers promises, not to hold you accountable, but because she genuinely values you. Did you mention wanting to try something new? She'll find a way to make it happen. Did you express a fear or insecurity? She'll protect that knowledge fiercely. Men tend to underestimate this because it isn't flashy or overt. But this careful attention, this intentional memory, is a love language in itself, a silent code that only those perceptive enough to understand will decode. Another subtle sign is how she adjusts her priorities around you without making it obvious. She's not sacrificing herself recklessly, but she's choosing to invest energy in your happiness, convenience, and comfort. She's subtly shaping her life so that you fit into it effortlessly. And this isn't something she announces. She does it quietly because love isn't about recognition. It's about connection. Here's the hardest truth for most men to grasp. A woman who loves silently isn't weak or uncertain. She's deliberate. She's protective of her heart, yet willing to invest deeply. She doesn't need to say it. Her actions, her energy, and her presence communicate more than words ever could. And once you learn to see these signs, you'll understand why silence can sometimes speak louder than the loudest declaration of love. Now, let's uncover a truth most men completely miss. Her silence is not emptiness, it's protection. A woman who loves quietly understands the fragility of her own heart, and she knows that speaking too soon or too loudly can backfire. She's aware of the risk that vulnerability brings. So she invests in you carefully in ways that are almost invisible yet profoundly meaningful. This is why her love can feel mysterious, even frustrating at times. But that mystery is not absence, it's depth, it's commitment, hidden beneath subtlety. Notice the way she defends you when you're not around. She doesn't boast about it, she doesn't announce it on social media. But if someone speaks negatively of you, she will instinctively protect you. This silent loyalty is a sign of deep attachment, a quiet love that's unwavering yet unspoken. And men often fail to see this because we're conditioned to look for words rather than actions. Her silence here isn't passive, it's intentional, a deliberate choice to support you without creating drama or drawing attention. Observe how she manages her emotions around you. She doesn't lash out when she's upset. She doesn't manipulate or test you unnecessarily. Instead, she regulates herself, keeping her feelings in balance because she understands that love isn't a battlefield, it's a partnership. She may be struggling internally, wrestling with fears or doubts, but she chooses to shield you from the turbulence, silently carrying the weight herself. This is an act of devotion few men recognize, but it's one of the clearest markers of true love in silence. Another key sign is the way she celebrates your uniqueness. She doesn't try to change you, she doesn't pressure you to be someone else. Instead, she subtly supports your growth, encourages your passions, and nurtures your individuality. Her love is selfless, patient, and often invisible. It's not about control or recognition. It's about creating a safe space where you can thrive, knowing that she believes in you without needing to hear you say it back. And here's the most important truth. When a woman loves silently, she's constantly testing the strength of her connection, not yours. She's asking herself if you'll notice, if you'll understand, if you'll appreciate her actions without prompting. This isn't insecurity, it's discernment. She's making sure her love lands in the right hands because her heart isn't disposable. Men often miss this entirely, thinking silence equals indifference. But once you see it clearly, you'll realize that her quiet devotion is stronger, deeper, and more enduring than anything loudly declared. Now pay attention. This is where most men completely misread the signals. A woman who loves silently doesn't chase attention. She values presence. She doesn't demand constant validation because her love isn't fragile. It's disciplined. She shows up for you in ways that aren't flashy yet impossible to ignore once you start paying attention. Maybe she texts you when you're feeling low, even if it's just a single word. Maybe she remembers the tiniest details of your life and integrates them into her actions. This is not coincidence, it's intentional, and it's a form of love that's far more powerful than words could ever convey. Notice the energy she invests. She's present when it matters. Yet she doesn't exhaust herself trying to prove anything. She understands that true love doesn't require a spotlight. It thrives in quiet, consistent care. Men often mistake this for indifference, but in reality, her energy is deliberate. Every glance, every gesture, every moment of support is calibrated to show you she's there even when you aren't fully aware. That's the essence of silent love. It's steady, unwavering, and enduring. Look at the way she mirrors your emotions. She feels your highs and lows almost instinctively. If you're happy, she smiles without prompting. If you're stressed, she steps back yet remains accessible. This is empathy at a level most men never notice because it's quiet, subtle, and unspoken. Her love is not performative. It's a deep internalized commitment. And what's fascinating is that she often sacrifices her own recognition for the sake of yours. Her silent love isn't about reward, it's about investment, and she trusts that the right person will eventually understand its depth. Another unmistakable sign is her patience. She doesn't push, she doesn't rush, and she doesn't force the relationship into premature milestones. She lets it grow organically, quietly, observing, understanding, and nurturing her feelings while simultaneously respecting yours. This patience is her way of protecting both of you. It's a love that's strategic yet authentic, disciplined yet passionate. Here's the truth that will change your perspective. Women who love silently aren't doing less, they're doing more. Every act, every pause, every carefully chosen silence is a deliberate expression of devotion. And if you learn to recognize these signs, you'll see that the woman who appears quiet, reserved, or distant may actually be the one who loves you with more intensity than anyone else ever could. Finally, let's uncover the truth most men will never see until it's too late. Her silence is her ultimate power. When a woman loves quietly, she does so with intention, depth, and strategy. She doesn't need to announce it because her actions, her energy, and her presence speak louder than words ever could. Every subtle gesture, every unspoken concern, every tiny act of care is her way of communicating. I am yours, but I will not beg for your attention. And this is what makes her love unshakable, even if it goes unnoticed. Observe how she gives without expectation. She invests in you emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically, without requiring recognition or immediate reciprocation. She knows that real love isn't transactional, it's intrinsic. She stays patient when you're distracted, supportive when you're struggling, and loyal when the world seems to doubt you. Her love exists in quiet consistency, not in grand declarations. And the subtle power of this is that it tests your awareness. Do you see her? Do you recognize her devotion before it becomes obvious, or do you take it for granted? Notice how she sacrifices for your happiness without making it known. The nights she stayed up thinking about your problems, the moments she refrained from speaking her frustrations to keep peace, the careful way she navigates your moods. All of this is love in its purest, most silent form. She doesn't manipulate or guilt you. She simply chooses to invest in you because it matters to her. And yet, many men miss it entirely because they're conditioned to look for noise, for attention, for drama. The final sign, the one that separates silent love from shallow attachment, is her unwavering loyalty. She protects you. She defends you. She anticipates your needs all while saying nothing. Her love is not performative. It's invisible yet omnipresent. And if you fail to notice, it's not because it isn't there, it's because you weren't looking closely enough. A woman who loves this way is rare. And once you recognize her, you understand that her silence is not absence. It is the most profound, enduring, and selfless form of love you will ever encounter. So here's the takeaway. Don't mistake quiet for indifference, subtlety for detachment, or patience for lack of interest. The woman who truly loves you but stays silent is gifting you her trust, her loyalty, and her heart. And recognizing this is the difference between losing her unknowingly and cherishing the love that's already. Thanks for watching. If you found like this video, please press the bell icon and subscribe the my channel Modern Stoic. Thank you.